use a little device, use a little bit of help. For example, become aware that you're breathing. You become aware of the inflowing and outflowing breath. And your attention moves with the breath into the body and out of the body. And again your attention is there, and again your attention follows the breath into the body. Stop for a second and out of the body. It's helpful if you can breathe as deep as the abdomen, although the air doesn't actually reach it, but your attention reaches it. And now you may realize that when you become aware of your breath, which is a very ancient meditation method, when you become aware of your breath, you cannot be thinking at the same time. That's why the Buddha recommended this meditation, which is called Anapanasati, which is your awareness of your breath stops your mind, the thinking mind, automatically. The moment you start thinking, you lose awareness of your breath. So the Buddha said, his main teaching, I would say, is be aware of your breathing. He didn't say, stop thinking, because that seems too difficult. But awareness of your breath is possible, and automatically thinking subsides. What remains is a sense of alert presence. That is the awakened consciousness, and that is inseparable from what I call the vertical dimension of life. It is the presence in the now. There is no time in this sense of beingness, stillness, alertness. There is no time, and yet that is essentially who or what you are. That gets usually mixed up with content, a bit like diluted. So this is the consciousness that is in its pure form. When you start thinking, it's still consciousness, but it takes on a form, a thought form. When you perceive things, it's consciousness perceiving. The perception is a form in your mind. Consciousness has taken on a form, takes on many forms continuously, and there is a bundle of thought forms in your mind that make up the main part of your sense of identity, and that is when you identify with that and you don't know yourself more deeply in the vertical dimension, then that's the ego. But when you know yourself more deeply in the vertical dimension of the present moment, then all that is that which makes up your personality. Of course, it's still there. Your story, the narrative of you, unchanged, it's still there. The difference, however, is you no longer look to it for your ultimate sense of self. You don't derive your true and ultimate identity from the narrative of your life that you tell yourself in your mind. Of course, it's still there. But you don't look to it for liberation or fulfillment or some future self. You don't even look to that for liberation or fulfillment, because all that is the horizontal dimension of life, and that is time, what time operates. And for millions of humans still, that's all they ever know. All they ever identify with is the personality conditioned by the past, problematic, problem-making, continuously, often very dysfunctional, coloring everything that you see and perceive. Get like through this veil of conditioning, you perceive the world and judge it through the veil of your mental conditioning. You don't see anything clearly. So this is the awakening into that Turiya, the fourth state of consciousness, the awakened state that all the ancient teachings already pointed to as a possibility, and it's here now, and it's more important now. It's not just something for very few humans to realize, but something that becomes available to more and more humans, especially now that we are being confronted collectively with various manifestations of adversity. And it's not the end yet, fortunately. It's not the end yet. There's more to come. So, and that is this gives you this dimension, the awakened dimension. This is where the resilience you find for living in troubled times. This is where you are rooted in this ultimately deep and unshakable rooted consciousness in of being. You realize who or what you are beyond the personality. They're not ultimately two. The analogy I often use is the ocean and the ripple on the surface of the ocean. You are a ripple on the surface of the ocean as a personality, surrounded by other ripples on this horizontal dimension. Some ripples you like, many others you don't like. Some ripples are very unpleasant, a few others are great, you like them. And yet you're only a ripple and it's uneasy, and it's never quite enough, and others are bigger ripples and even waves come occasionally. Who is that guy? It's the wave. And life becomes unsatisfying. And at some point you meet another ripple who says, have you not realized who or what you are beyond your ripple existence? And you say, no, I haven't. Okay, then can you sense, if you stop thinking for a moment, can you sense the depths of you? Can you sense that there's more to you than this surface appearance? And the ripple goes, oh, okay. And finally, the attention goes deep as the vertical dimension opens up, and the ripple goes, oh. And then, of course, the ripple won't know what to say, doesn't know what it is, but it senses something. It senses that its connectedness to something vast, infinite. It's the ocean. And it's not only senses its connectedness, it senses its oneness with that. And then that is self-transcendence of the ripple. And in this analogy, of course, you are the ripple. And this is the essence of all spirituality, is to sense that in yourself, in the vertical dimension of yourself, to sense it as yourself. And the moment we talk about it, it sounds as if it were something that you perceive, this sense, but it's only because we use language, and then every sentence has a subject and an object. And so you could say, I am aware of myself. Yes, it's true, but ultimately that's not how it is, because the moment you've said that, you've created a duality, I and myself. But when you sense the essence of who you are, there's no duality. The awareness of yourself is the awareness. So it's not being aware of something, but being aware of awareness itself, so to speak. you sense your own consciousness as consciousness. You know you are. That's an amazing thing. It sounds so simple that it's impossible to realize. To know that you are. Not as a particular this or that. It's pure beingness. You know that you are. And you can sense that you are. That is such a liberation and such a wonderful And then you realize there's a depth to who you are that far transcends who you are as a personality. That is, in some spiritual traditions, that is called liberation. And you can see why. It liberates you from yourself. Jesus also used the term salvation. You can use salvation, you can use liberation. So this is once you have a glimpse, it's your mission to invite that dimension into your life more and more. Not just doing meditation is good if you have a meditation practice, if you meditate rightly, and many people don't meditate rightly. The mistake that can easily creep into meditation is you meditate in order to achieve a particular goal, or you have a future self of an awakened master, and you want to achieve that, and therefore you have the idea that you are doing a meditation in order to get somewhere. That's always very hard to get rid of this mind pattern, because everywhere else it operates. You always do something in order to achieve something, and in order to achieve something through your doing, you need time. For everything you need time. Even make a cup of tea, you need time. And this doing idea can easily come into the idea of meditating. So you're doing it in order to get somewhere. So you bring future time into your meditation unconsciously without knowing it. Whereas true meditation, is not a doing, but it's the realization of being. And there's no time in being.